Okay, thank you. Just remind us recording is in progress. So we have, I see we have a quorum. Today is September 19. And I am in the headquarters. We will start the meeting. Time is 2:40. Can you hear me? There is a problem too.
They can hear
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
you.
Okay, all right then. Sorry, Allison is working on the computer.
There we are.
So we are meeting, the first part of the meeting right now is about the canvas. So we have to go through that one. The first one is reject ballot. Was the ballot need to be rejected? Oh, we have a whole bunch of them need to be.
Tray of them.
60.
Since August 5th to September 12th, we have 68 ballot. It came late after it was over, so we're gonna, do I have a motion to reject 68 ballot?
I move we reject the 68 ballots that were received after the deadline.
Do I have second?
I will second.
I have a question.
Okay, fine, hold on. Amit seconded discussion, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, are any of those ballots, I realize that we have to reject them because they were received late regardless, but were any of those ballots postmarked before Election Day?
I'm gonna tell you. This one was received August 8th.
I have to go back and check one by one. I can-
Okay,
I can
well,
do that by the end of the meeting, if that's.
yeah, well, I think it would just be useful for us to know if there are any in that category. I would expect that if we received them this late, they probably were mailed late, but if they were mailed on time and received this late, then I think that would be useful information for us to know. Doesn't
So
have.
like, here's one that was, it has a postmark from New Zealand dated July 2nd. So there's certainly some that are prior to Election Day. But there are also a good number of them that are postmarked after Election Day.
I guess what I'm asking is if any of them were mailed domestically before Election Day and arrived as late as we're talking about, that they arrived in August or later, I think that would be worthy of our knowing so that we can discuss it with the Postal Service. Otherwise, we know from past experience that sadly this happens a lot. That's all I'm really asking. It doesn't have to be done today,
Yeah.
but I would be very interested in knowing if there are ballots that were mailed in a timely fashion in the US and did not arrive in time.
Boris is doing it. The one I'm looking is too late. It was mailed too late. Boris would look at them and let us know by email, right, Boris?
That's right.
Okay. All
That would
right.
be great. Thank you.
Okay. Approval of canvas minute. We all got the minute.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, did you all vote?
That vote, should we?
We did. Yeah,
Tommy
we did.
seconded it. Should we just vote and take
Yeah.
the motion
Yeah.
to reject?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Those
Kevin.
in favor, raise your hand, please. Opposed?
Alex, we didn't
All
vote.
right.
Oh,
So Boris
sorry,
will let us know.
Is Alex
I
opposed?
intended to vote yes as a member. of the board of Finance.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Withdraw McGraw.
B, approval of canvas minute. We got it. And
Yep.
David is,
I have a motion to approve the minutes with the edits that I submitted.
I'll second.
I will say that I did not write in exactly how it should be worded, but I did indicate in my comments that the the minutes were not accurate about who was present in person for the meeting, and I just want to make sure that that will be corrected before. Do these minutes get posted on our website, or do they go to the state, or what happens to the Canvas minutes?
It both occurs. They get sent to the state and they get posted on our website.
Okay, well, others are certainly welcome to try and remember back to August 13th, but I believe that that was the meeting where Nahid participated remotely and then came to the board later and was able to sign the certification. So our minutes should not reflect that she was at the meeting in person, because she was at the meeting remotely.
Unfortunately, that's the only meeting I missed being there. Otherwise, I was all the time here. Okay, that's fine. I saw that one. That's okay with me. Any other, Mr. Neiman?
Just what I included in the document that I circulated. Do
You move, okay, you move.
do
yes.
you want me to explain what my changes were, or do you just want to proceed with them? I can, whichever you prefer, Madam President.
Everybody saw that. change,
Yeah,
so
I
I don't think it's necessary we go one and one. So
Okay,
your motion is to accept the minute, right? The canvas.
as amended in the email I sent, yes.
Okay, as amended. Second, do I have a
I
second?
second.
Second. Any more discussion? No, those in favor, raise a hand. Thank you. We have it. It's approved. So we're going to adjourn the meeting of canvassers. Do I have a vote to adjourn the meeting and go to the public meeting?
Yeah, I
I
move.
see.
to-
Regular minutes as well, or
One
just
again.
Canvas minutes?
Yeah,
Regular is for day.
Regular minutes are later in the agenda, I believe.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Can I-
so I move we adjourn the canvas meeting and return to our usually scheduled board meeting.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
Second,
Any more discussion? So those in favor of-
One quick thing, Madam
Say.
President. When I looked yesterday, the August 13th meeting was not available on the website. So I'm hoping that that can be posted soon.
August
It will.
13, okay, then
Definitely.
Lisa, you were taking care of, Lisa will taking care of that one.
Thank you.
All right, then those in favor to get out of this meeting, raise your hand. Opposed? No, thank you so much. All right, then. Now we are in the public meeting. We have the quorum. So president remark, my remark is that on behalf of the board, I like to thank the staff of Montgomery County Board of Election for their commitment, dedication, hard work during the July primary. Our sincere and special thanks goes to all of you who provide further assistance during the canvass and the recount. The board are looking forward and appreciated your future assistance during the upcoming election on November meeting. I cannot name each one of you. I thank you so very much. We appreciate what you have done. Thank you. Huh? David, yes.
No, that's not a question, that's a clap. I am clapping.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Thank
thank you, Nahid. Gracious comments.
Thank you. David is clapping. That's something. All right then. Okay.
He knows how to do it.
So, addition and changes to the agenda. Any addition?
Madam President, we will need to have an executive session at the end to discuss a request to become a confidential voter, a personnel issue, and a security issue.
We have that, Mr. Karpinski. We will have that one.
I'm going to have a new business item to add at the end concerning Canvas pay.
Okay, yeah. The new business, old business, you can discuss whatever we haven't done it. Thank you, guys. Campaign contribution, who's the rich one? Me. The rich one? I know, Lisa.
I'm not sure I would phrase it that way, but my campaign contributions this month were $500 to Neil Parrott and $250 to Reardon Sullivan.
Okay, thank you. Any other? David? No,
Excuse me?
I'm calling the name. Okay, then. Thank
I definitely don't qualify for the category that you were naming earlier as a career government official, but thank
anyhow.
you for asking.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Public comment. Lisa, do we have any?
Yes, we have Mr. Michael Fletcher who asked to address the board.
Mr. Fletcher, if you're there? He's not there. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Fletcher? No, he's not here, right?
Well, I spoke to Mr. Fletcher earlier today and he inquired about how this would work. So I'm not sure if he's able to identify if there's, I see a call-in number. I'm not sure if that's him.
You guys know who Mr. Fletcher is.
Yeah.
So we got his email and
The
we
number I
responded
have
back to him, by the way.
916. Okay, well, I don't know. He called me earlier today asking how the process went.
So you go on. In case if you
Lisa.
come later, you can.
Lisa, did he indicate to you, was there any agreement between the two of you that he intended to call in with his comments?
Yes, that is
Oh.
correct.
Okay,
All right,
His comments in general have to do with the elimination of the electronic machines.
get the email. They know that one. Yes, thank you. So we will discuss it later.
And I can circulate his comments that he also attached.
The recent comment or the old one?
I didn't read the attachment. I just know that there's one attached.
Okay, so you will get an email from Lisa regarding Mr. Fletcher comment. Election director report.
Oh, I have a question. Lisa, do you want to check that 301 number and can you unmute it and find if that's Mr. Fletcher?
I cannot do that. Jerry,
Oh,
I don't have the capabilities on my end. That would have to be Jerry.
okay.
it'd be too bad if he was doing everything he needed to do and
There are two phone calls.
technology
here.
couldn't get in.
Anyhow,
phone lines.
if you call back later on, we will let him talk to see what he wanted to say. Otherwise, Lisa will send you the latest email. Please read your email. Okay,
I will, yes, I'll allow Lisa to figure out what she can figure out as far as the
Right.
person who wanted to address the board, and we'll move on with the agenda, certainly with the
Yes.
understanding that the board
Thank
can come back.
so election director report.
Okay, we have the written version of my report was distributed to the board yesterday morning and is now linked to the website as well. In addition to the housekeeping items in terms of what minutes were circulated to the board and such. The first item on that is just a verification that, as discussed at the previous board meeting, I did submit an affidavit to the court on the case regarding opening the vote by mail ballots earlier. And we are expecting a ruling on that on September 23rd. I will leave it to Kevin to discuss that in any further detail he wishes to in the board attorney's report. Also, I want to report as a follow-up item from our last meeting that the state board did approve the polling place changes that our board had selected at our previous meeting. So those were both followed through on as action items from the previous meeting. Another thing I wanted to highlight for you is that the state board has now certified the content and arrangement of the ballot for the general election. There are 258 ballot styles, which amounts to something like 1,500 and change pages when you pull up the PDF of all of the different ballot styles for the general election in Montgomery County. And there are 3 cards because of the number of constitutional amendments and the one Montgomery County charter question. So as you will recall, in the 2018 election, we also had a 3-card ballot. And so that makes a difference in terms of the flow of voters in the polling place and the ratio of poll books to equipment and the length of time that it takes voters to mark their ballot and to scan it. Although, of course, we're not expecting quite the same level of or percentage of those voters who vote to be in person at the polls on election day as we had in the 2018 general election. The precinct level results from the primary are available on the state website. The monthly statistics were distributed to the board on September 1st. As of August 31st, there were 673,016 active registered voters and 77,390 inactive voters, or those voters that we have documentation that they appear to no longer be at the address that we have on file for them. So that's a total voter count of 750,406. The vote by mail applications were mailed to our voters in August for the general election. And Boris has reported that as of September 14th, we had processed 114,131 applications for a vote by mail ballot. Now, about 65% of those requests are for a permanent vote by mail ballot. So those were previously processed. Or in a category that will not require processing every election. About 15% of them are requests for web delivery ballots, so not a huge departure from the percentage of those that we've seen before. And you have charts, and the charts showing this information are in the written report, which is also on the state on our website, which shows the breakdown by political party, the breakdown by type, and the breakdown by delivery method. The sample ballot, the artwork that incorporated the board members' edits, was distributed to the board. It is scheduled for mailing to voters the first week of October. Because of the additional length of the ballot and the need to include the ballot question summaries and information about write-in candidates, this time the publication is going to be 36 pages long, so it is a good bit longer than it has been sometimes as well. The ballot order has been placed. Logic and accuracy testing will begin as soon as we receive the test ballots for the general election. The tentative date that we would like you all to mark your calendars for at this time is October 12th. That's when we would like to do the public test of the voting equipment and the early voting supply verification. But we'll come back to that because I'm reading facial expressions in the room with me here today. It looks like we may need to change that date. So mark that as very tentative. We'll come back to that shortly.
Do you have a time of day?
I'll go ahead now. Jan, I don't know if you can be picked up on the audio pickup. Do you have a substitute date that they should use instead?
The verification has to happen by October 12th.
Right.
But
That's the deadline.
Yeah, the public test, we may move later to be like October 21st.
For the public test.
For the public,
October 21st.
October 21st. That's the
Yeah.
date we're looking at. I gotta talk to Jerry and Lisa.
Historically, what we've done is kind of lump those two together so that as a scheduling matter, board members who are here for one can do the other on the same day. But they do have different deadlines. And so we may very well want to go ahead and shift. There operationally, it is better for us if we wait to do the public test of the voting equipment until after we have completed the logic and accuracy testing and all the voting equipment. So yeah, we may decouple those, which would mean doing one on or before August 12th and doing the other October. I'm sorry, not August, October
21st is the date.
21st. So you may want to mark your calendars for both of those dates, the 12th and the 21st. I did distribute to you a draft, and this is something that most of you have seen before. We did not do this in the primary election, but it is, the state has asked that we do this for the general election to have the board formally vote to approve our plan for verifying the packaging of supplies for early voting and election day. And so if board members have any questions about that, please raise them. But I would like to ask for a motion. Do you want to do that now or do you want to wait until after my report?
After your report. then
Okay.
we'll do that.
So if anybody has questions, we can discuss that, but I am going to be asking for a motion from the board to approve the verification plan, which basically just documents that there's a certain percentage of things that Janet and I will inspect and a certain percentage of things that the board members will inspect in order to make sure that we have done our work properly in packaging up the supplies to be distributed to early voting sites and to the election day locations. I'm also going to be asking for a motion, and this is another thing that you may have questions on, to approve our request to the state board to send more than 6 ballot marking devices to some of the early voting locations and to send more than 3 ballot marking devices to some of the election day polling places. This is a requirement of the state board that we come to them for approval. In any event that we send more than that number of ballot marking devices to any location, we always do. We always send more than that number. But the specific number of each of the sites that we are intending to send more than 3 or more than 6 is in the draft of the letter that was circulated to board members. And the state board is planning to consider those requests from the local boards at its meeting on September 28th. So I wanted to make sure that you all had an opportunity to review that. I don't know if you need a motion, but I figured I'd ask for one since it will be going before the state board for approval as well. I also wanted to report to you that I have been asked to speak at a virtual briefing before the House Ways and Means Committee on September 29th. I have not yet gotten back to them, but I said that I would do that after this meeting. And I am operating under the assumption that that's something that the board is going to want me to do. It's sort of generally a debriefing on the primary election and preparations for the general election. But of course, they specifically have questions about things ranging from the process of canvassing vote by mail ballots to our audit, to the recount in the county executives race, and to the questions that arose about the ballot marking devices. As a next item is personnel. The positions of election director and election operations manager are still advertised and open until filled. We have identified eligible candidates for the operations manager position, and we are currently scheduling interviews. We have also conducted interviews for a vacant office services coordinator position, and we are working with the Office of Human Resources to extend an offer. That leaves 2 permanent positions that remain open. One is now an administrative specialist position. It used to be the management and budget specialist position, and then for another office services coordinator position. At this time, we have 73 temporary employees on the payroll, but we need significantly more. And so we're working with the Office of Human Resources right now to identify some more candidates and streamline the hiring process to staff up with the additional manpower that we're going to need for the general election. As of the 16th, we had 439 election workers who had been trained for the general election. We are in full swing of training, which began on September 7th. We have a primary location that we've been using since we moved all of the training out of our building, where Fleet Management has a training facility that they have been so gracious as to allow us to occupy for an extended period of time. And so that is our primary training location that we are using, as we have been since 2020. In addition, we are conducting offsite training at the North Potomac Basic Community Rec Center, at the Silver Spring Civic Building, and at the Wheaton Community Recreation Center. I think we've got a solid 2 weeks at each one of those locations that we're using in addition to the primary fleet management training site. And then the last thing that I just wanted to note for you as far as the website is that we do have the link to the certified content and arrangement of the ballot. And I also wanted to let you know that in light of the questions about the ballot marking device in the primary election, we have also made sure to arrange for a display copy, a demo of the ballot marking device that is in our lobby and available for anybody who would like to come in and to review the interface that voters will be using for the general election. That concludes my statement, and I will,
Budget.
the budget, yes.
You want to go through all of this and then budget again? I mean,
I don't have a copy of the budget report on me. The budget report I had circulated separately. So at this time, what you have for fiscal 23 is that we have spent approximately 2.9 million of our $10.6 million budget There are, of course, a lot of expenditures that will be front-loaded but have not yet been expended for the election that is in November. And then, of course, we have the remainder of the fiscal year to get through as well. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions that board members have about the budget.
Okay, we finish all of these.
Yep.
Okay, now you. go for the most ask a motion for the
I
first.
will turn the computer screen back over to Naheed to handle the motions, but then we can answer any
May
questions.
may I ask a question? I'm sorry. You
Yes.
asked whether there were questions on the budget.
Yeah.
I think there may be questions about other aspects of your report.
Yes.
Yep.
There are.
Budget, question about budget too?
Or anything. You want to
Okay,
handle
go ahead.
questions?
Open
Yeah,
for
sure.
question. Go ahead.
Well, I had one question for starters. You mentioned a location for training that you refer to as fleet management, I believe.
Mhm.
Where is that?
That's what I'm-
It's on Crabs Branch Road. It's basically near. Where would you describe it? It's
It's like the
kind of,
intersection,
City Grove, Crabs Branch
Shady.
after the post office.
yeah,
Shady Grove, Crabs Branch, right around the metro.
it's sort of near 355 and 370.
That Crabs Branch Way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
And that is where we're doing most of our training now? Is that what you were saying?
yes,
Yeah.
that is where we've been doing most of our in-person training. We did in 2020 as well as for the primary. Because we just don't have any training rooms in our building anymore.
Anybody else have question? Yes, Alex.
Allison, I've seen your figure here about the number of applications processed for vote by mail ballots. Does anyone on staff have an idea of how many more that we will get by the beginning of November? And do we have plans to hire a larger canvas team than we had in the primary?
So let me answer that a couple of ways. I would say, and I'm so hesitant to throw numbers out, but of course, everybody wants numbers. The 150,000 figure is about the,
Good turn.
yeah, as far as having the number of returned ballots that when pressed for a number, I need to throw one out. I'm going to say we're looking at probably about 150,000 returned vote by mail ballots for the general election. Of course, that number can be, well off of that, but that's roughly what we are anticipating. And if you picture that as being about twice what we had for the primary election, that we have to canvass in less time. So that requires us to significantly scale up the canvass process for the general election. We are working with community use public facilities to arrange for the gymnasium at one of the unused school buildings in Montgomery County. That is where we anticipate, I can't say which unused school building at this point, but that is our expectation for where and how we will be conducting the canvass process. We have also had conversations with Montgomery College. They have some restrictions in terms of the dates of availability in that location. And of course, that room is smaller than a school gymnasium. So much as we really liked using the Montgomery College site, I don't think that it is going to meet our needs as well as a school gymnasium would for the general election. And from a staffing matter, yes, absolutely. Scaling up the work twice as much means scaling up the bodies at least twice as much.
Yeah, I strongly suggest we target a 100% increase in the manpower we expect. And if that means calling in the county council or using county employees, if possible, but do whatever we have to ramp up. Because this thing can't go on longer than the last one. And I don't think it should go as long as the primary took. So I think we need to double the workforce, which is going to mean a huge location.
Yep.
Allison, is there a date by which you're saying it's compressed or we don't have as much time? Like what deadline to end the canvas are we looking at?
Well, the deadline, we have the swearing in of some local offices as early as December 1st. So that's what, and the general election itself being the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November is on the last day it could possibly be, since November 1st is a Tuesday.
Right.
So it's as short a timetable as we can ever have.
But practically speaking, if it's not done, they don't swear in. I mean, is
No.
there?
I don't really get to look at it that way as an option. So we gotta get
I
it
mean,
done.
yeah, I certainly don't want to run into having to figure that out, but yeah, whatever we can do to double the workforce that we had, let us know.
And the court helping us by changing the date to start the campaign.
Yeah, I'll say that the pitch there, as far as anyone that you know who is interested in working with us, this is not an election judge role. Yes, there are times and places and ways in which we use election judges for any number of tasks, including the canvas itself. But where our real staffing need is in temporary employees. And that is something where people who are interested in coming to work with us, what they need to do is to go to the county's careers site, which is montgomerycountymd.gov/careers. And the job title is Election Aid 2. That is where, and it's a county temporary employee position, is where our need is greatest. So
And-
anyone you know that's interested in that, of course, if they've got very limited availability, then we want them to apply to be an election judge. But anybody that really wants to come be part of the team and work where we need the help the most, it's in those Election Aid 2 positions here with the county.
Allison, are you saying that those positions are people who would be working at the canvas?
We do have employees who work at the canvas, but we also have roles here in our office, including that all important role of beeping in the ballots.
Right. No, I understand the need for more employees overall, but I thought that Alex and Diane were talking about boosting the number of canvassers. And I have a question related to that. I was going to bring it up under new business, but since we're already talking about it, how does our pay for canvassers compare to the pay of other Maryland jurisdictions? And what would we need to do to be paying at least as much as whoever pays the most?
It's a good conversation to have. And I'm not sure that I'm ready to commit to the model on this, but I think you're right. I think what we need to look at is the length of the day. What we did in the primary election is that we compensated the election judges who came to work in the canvas for an 8-hour day, for what would correspond to an 8-hour day shift at the polls. And a large part of the reason we did that was not just to keep people sharp and not have them doing that task for more than 8 hours, but it was also because of the work that has to be done prior to canvas and after the canvas every day by our own staff. And so to avoid sort of pushing people past realistic human limits, what we tried to do was to keep the canvas day itself to 8 hours and allow people to get their work done here before and after and get some sleep before and after that 8-hour day. Expanding a lot of other, and I go there because there were other jurisdictions that did have longer days of their canvas. And I have not looked at the hours of the canvas and the amount of the stipend that all of the other counties paid, but yes, I do know that there were some other jurisdictions that both paid people more and expected a longer day out of them than we did. And that is something.
How about in terms of the hourly? You don't know what the hourly comparison
You don't pay
would
hourly?
be? No, I
Yeah.
understand that, but you're saying that we asked for fewer hours and paid less.
Mhm.
And one of the questions for people who want to be canvassers is going to be the total pay for the day. But the other is, if we're paying less per hour in addition to fewer hours, that puts us in a much worse situation than if we just have a shorter day, but we're paying the same. Because, and by the way, when you say that you're not sure if you're ready to have this conversation, we could be starting to canvass as soon as 2 weeks from now. So, I mean, if the court rules that, that we can. So, I guess I'd like to know, because I personally believe, I mean, I agree with what Alex and Diane have said about increasing our numbers. I think increasing our numbers, I mean, obviously, some of that will be possible because it's not July and August, it's, it's October and November. But for some of that, let's do everything we can to encourage people, including, every jurisdiction in the state can have canvassers from every other jurisdiction in the state. And I would hate for Montgomery Countyans who want to canvass to go to other jurisdictions in order to make more money when we have the most ballots, the most internet delivery ballots, we have the most difficult task of anybody. So, when it comes time for new business, I plan to make a motion and hopefully it gets support that, we do whatever is necessary to at least match, if not exceed, the highest pay in the state.
And Allison, just as part of the formula, you mentioned some jurisdictions pay more.
Yes.
For longer days. However, did those canvases run for 5 weeks or 4 weeks? Did they have, I mean, I think anybody can do longer days if they know it's not going to go on for 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, ours went on partly because of the recount problem, not necessarily just the primary.
Right, but it just containing it to the, say, the 3.5 weeks it took for the primary.
You want to talk because Alan's hand is up. I was waiting after that. Please raise your hand if you wanted to talk.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even see those.
Thank you. Go ahead. Are you finished, Diane?
Yeah, Allison, just do you know if the jurisdictions that pay more with longer days operate for a shorter time frame?
I don't, that's what I haven't
Oh, okay.
looked at.
Alan, your hand is up. You want to talk?
Me?
Alan's hand is not up,
I didn't see any. Yeah.
Alex has his hand up.
Okay,
and Elise has her
Elise
hand up.
has her hand up.
Alex, go ahead.
Just a follow-up question, Allison, if we're talking to people who might be interested in doing this, what is the kind of time commitment that you would be expecting for canvassers? 20 days straight? Something more than that? If it starts early, what would we be looking at? You're going to want people to commit, right, to a certain time and to
Well,
be there.
if we're starting, let's say that the court gives us the ability to begin opening the ballots early, we can expect a certain fluctuation in the volume where there will be fewer of the ballots at the beginning stages than there will be arriving later in the process. And so that means needing fewer people to do that at the beginning than we need at the end. I mean, this is so workload dependent. We had temporary employees who were working very long overtime hours in order to take delivery of ballots for the last election when we had thousands of them arriving in a day, who we had cut their hours and sent them home early 2 days earlier because we didn't have work for them to do. So there's a great amount of variation in the workload here.
Yeah, I guess the other thing I want to know, and maybe Kevin can address this when it comes time for him to talk about it, is what if the petition before the circuit court is granted, what exactly will that allow us to do and what will it not allow us to do?
Okay, well, Alice, I can address that, but I think it's also important to keep in mind that people shouldn't be discouraged from serving as canvas workers because the canvas may last three weeks or so, because we have canvas workers that work, 3 or 4 days a week, and then they take 2 days off, and
Right.
Michelle coordinates that with them because we have to, well, first of all, we, in essence, although they're getting paid, they're volunteers. I mean, these are not permanent employees. And so we have to work around their schedules to some extent that they have other obligations they need to go ahead and meet.
Right.
So And I think we don't want to go ahead and scare anyone off by saying, well, you're going to have to commit to 20 days because you're not going to need to commit to 20 days because if you have something else you need to do or you don't really want to show up on a particular day, there's not much we can do about that. And Michelle tries her best to go ahead and sort of coordinate everyone's schedules.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and as we saw during the canvas, it was great when we had a couple of days that were just loaded tables, and then there were other days where people just couldn't call in, illness, whatever. But yeah, I think if they knew they could sign up and have the flexibility, we might be able to get a larger workforce that we can move around and depend on.
I do want to reiterate, though, that for every worker that we recruit for the canvas who was going to sit there and spend 8 hours or however many hours a day physically handling those ballots, every one of those ballots that they're handling has had to be processed by a staff member here at our office. And that is a very time-consuming activity. And that is where the biggest pinch is in the workflow. It is getting the processing done prior to the canvas. So again, while I do really want the board members' assistance in helping us to recruit election judges and helping us to recruit canvas workers, our biggest labor pinch is on the employee side. And that's where we want to send people to the county's career site to apply for the election aid position.
Okay.
Yes, Diane?
I think Lisa's hand is up.
Yes. I had a question, Allison, about your testimony, your request to speak before the legislative briefing.
Mhm.
Are they going to ask you to submit written testimony in advance of that?
I have not specifically been asked to submit written testimony. I think I was told 4 minutes or 6 minutes or something like that.
Okay. If in fact you are going to be submitting anything written, it would be great if we could see it, get a copy of it to review a couple of days in advance, before you submit it, just as fresh eyes and all that on it. So if you are going to submit something written, I'd appreciate us having a chance to look at it.
Yes, I think that's certainly
Yes, thank
appropriate.
you. Yes. Any other question for Addison? Or do we have to move those items?
Yeah, my
Diane's hand is up.
Not to belabor this, I'm going to try to do this quickly. Allison, back to trying to ramp up. I didn't appreciate, I didn't appreciate the facts. I didn't have the facts enough for me to appreciate what this entire equation would be, which you very well brought back to mind for me. I do remember during the canvas that there was a lag because the ballots were not, I understand now what you're saying about having them ready to get there to be counted. So to that point, I want to add my encouragement that we really ramp up that group. And I know you alluded to that, but is there a limit on capacity for what you can use in the facility you have? Do we need to do anything to make sure that if we can get the staffing that we need to front load this, that we can accommodate it?
We've got that handled. We have, without getting too detailed into our sort of minutia of our staffing plans and structures and discussions here. One of the things that we're doing, for example, is, we have very specific dedicated tasks that we recruit temporary workers to do. But one of the, that puts us in a pinch if you train too few people to do a job and then you lose somebody or somebody gets sick and so one of the things that we're trying to structure things to do in the general is to have a little bit more of sort of floater roles, more positions that we can move from one role to another, which of course presents its own challenge. If people are cross-trained, then they're not trained as much in the specific detail of the task, but that's what we're grappling with. We do have this, we have the seating space. We have the workstations, we have the computers, we do have the desk space for us to be able to accommodate more bodies than we had in the primary election.
David?
Thank you, Madam President. Allison, I believe you said in your report that the sample ballot is going to be mailed the first week of October. Was that approximately right?
Approximately. I don't have a firm mailing date yet.
Okay, and how does that relate to the date that is expected for the ballots to be mailed? Not the sample ballots, the actual ballots, because the mail-in ballots. Because my understanding was, and you can tell me if my understanding was incorrect, that the overseas ballots have to be mailed by roughly the 24th, I think this Saturday. And then the domestic ballots were usually going to be mailed very shortly after that. So I was just wondering how, and if you could tell us kind of in general, do we usually send our sample ballot before we send the mail-in ballots, or is this timing, roughly the same as what we usually do?
The deadline in federal law for ballots to be mailed to military and overseas voters is Saturday, the 24th. And what the state customarily does is mail them the previous day, mail them the work day prior. So Friday, the 23rd is when we're expecting the military and overseas ballots to be mailed. And then the domestic ballots to begin being mailed on the 28th. The 28th is when domestic ballots are anticipated to be mailed. And I think our press time is that following the end of that week, the following weekend, so that I believe Monday, October 3rd is when our sample ballots are going to be going into the mail stream, but I'm not 100% on that. There's some wiggle room. Our vendor does this same work for multiple other jurisdictions, including other jurisdictions here in the region, including Prince George's County and the District of Columbia. And so we can't all get them in the mail the same day. I want to say though, so with the let's see, the voter registration deadline 3 weeks before Election Day, October 18th, I would say that customarily what we try to do, we used to get it out the door later. And what we've been trying to do is to get that sample ballot in the mail earlier and earlier over the last several years. So that, and this is a bigger issue, of course, in the primary election when you have the party change deadline, but it's still an issue in the general election as well, where we try to get this into voters' hands before the voter registration deadline. So that puts us a solid 2 weeks and change before the voter registration deadline, which is, I'm going to say is probably about what our target has been the last few years.
Okay, so it's not unusual that there are actually some ballots that may go out before our sample ballot goes out.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and would it be safe to say, you say that you think that the ballots are going to be, the domestic ballots are scheduled to go into the mail on the 28th of September. Is it safe to say that the drop boxes will be installed by then?
Yes. The installation dates for Montgomery County, I believe some are on the 28th and some are on the 29th, correct? Correct. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Any other question? Okay, go ahead and do the motion.
And we're doing the Rockville one's going to be open even before that.
Sarah called me, so she's going to.
Yeah, because of course we have the state ones that are installed, but then we have the smaller ones that we're in control of the opening. So we'll have them open by then as well.
Go to the motion.
Okay, we had two motions.
Two motion which we need. What is the motion? What was the motion for?
To prepare equipment for the 22.
Okay, here is the
This
motion.
verification
This is under
plan.
new business.
And the verification plan.
You can handle it wherever in the agenda
Okay.
you wish.
The motion is prepare equipment for 2022 general election. Do I have a motion? That is
Yeah.
second.
I move we accept the recommendation by the acting director for the verification process.
Second.
Second,
I'm sorry, are we now talking about the first motion or the second motion?
The first.
The chair,
motion.
please restate the motion.
I move we accept the acting director's recommendations for the verification.
Okay, so that's the one that's listed under B in the
Listed
agenda.
under, yeah, listed under new business. That's the, is a two motion, motion
Right.
A,
For the,
motion B.
so motion A, I move that we accept the acting director's plan for verification for preparing equipment for the 2022. We
no.
don't
I,
verify
I,
her plan?
I believe, Diane, that there's two different motions. One is about equipment and one is about the
yes.
verification
No,
plan.
Right, but
Yes,
we don't,
knows that.
then we're just moving to accept, not verify her plan. Okay, Then-
I'm not, I personally don't understand what exactly we're
Okay.
doing. So hopefully someone can
okay,
explain it.
I move, we accept the plan to prepare equipment for the 2022 gubernatorial general election.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, could you please explain what that plan is?
That's the one Allison sent us,
Go
and
ahead.
the attachments.
I think there are two motions. So David, on the attachments, there's a document, State of Maryland Voting Supplies Checklist and Certification for Election Day, which requires the acting election director and the deputy director to do a variety of things, as well as to have the board members do certain things, which you've done in the past in terms of doing verification of doing the bag checks. So I think the motion that is the first motion is to accept the verification plan as presented as one of the attachments to the acting election director.
I'm sorry, but the acting director's report had an attachment that was called voting supplies. And then there was it was called voting supplies, election day checklist and certification. And then there was a separate one that was called Montgomery County election verification plan.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to know which one we're being asked to
Right.
approve right now.
I think I can clear this up. There are really three different motions. And the first motion is the one that I believe was already on your agenda, which was a motion just directing us to prepare the equipment for the 2022 gubernatorial general election. And quite honestly, I don't understand the legal basis of you needing to have a motion on that, but I think it's something that we have customarily done.
It's paperwork, we actually have to say they gave us a motion.
Okay, so Janet is
We-
telling me
we-
that it is
we-
required.
We have to tell you
Yeah.
that we want to hold an election and use equipment?
That is
Yeah.
what I'm told, yes. So that is a motion in and of itself. I think it is a pretty straightforward one for you to direct us to do. And then there is a second motion that I'm asking for, which is the one to approve our plan for how we're going to check our work for packaging up the supplies for early voting and election day. And then there was the third piece, and I don't know that you need a motion on this, but I thought you might want to have one, which is to send the additional ballot marking devices out to certain sites. That is going to be a business item for the state board, and I wanted you to have an opportunity to review that before the state board does. So it's three separate motions that I am asking for. I had quite frankly forgotten about the first one, but that's
Okay.
on your agenda to do as well.
It's a complicated, but let's go one by one. Okay,
Okay, wow.
you already did the.
I don't know if I'm gonna back out of this task.
You already did A.
If you want, Diane, I mean, I think we're going to be doing all three of these regardless.
Yeah, can we just move all three together?
Sure, why
Well,
not?
No,
Separate
they need to be
Here
separate.
is Kevin. No, we have to do
They're
one at a
separate.
time.
Okay, could we,
Okay.
I move we accept the first item that was just described in detail. Is
I
that
think
good enough? We're still all on the same page.
I think the first item was that we're just asking the staff to prepare the equipment for the election.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Correct.
Correct.
exactly.
And Diane, you're moving that, right?
Okay,
Second by
second it.
Ami.
I'll
She
second.
moved them and
It
second
was
by
a
Ami.
second by Ami.
Those in favor, please raise your hand. Alex, your hand is not up.
No, and it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be up.
Right, he's a substitute member.
Okay.
oh,
That doesn't mean I'm a bad person, you know.
No, so want to say no? Okay. Diane, for
okay,
the
that,
B motion.
and then the second motion, I'm going off the script here that says, as listed, I move that we vote to allow staff to prepare equipment for the 2022 gubernatorial general election. And I think verify should be in there.
No, I think that's the motion we
Motion.
just passed.
Yep.
Yes,
There's
did.
two
that's
motions.
correct.
No,
You need a motion to approve the verification plan.
Okay, we're on to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Would be-
I move we approve the verification plan for the 2022 gubernatorial general election.
That's it.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
And that was the verification plan submitted by our acting election director to us yesterday, correct?
Right? Alison, yes.
Correct.
Alison
And then
said-
there's a third motion.
No,
wait,
hold on.
let's vote on
No.
that one.
Those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, we have it. Now you go to the general election sample ballot.
No, I thought,
Actually-
no, there's another motion first.
Right, and I am gonna save myself the humiliation and let someone else make this motion.
Okay, well, the third motion
I
is.
don't have
to-
it in the agenda. Go ahead.
The third motion is to approve the allocation of ballot marking devices as outlined in Allison's September 19,
Oh, right.
2022 letter to Administrator Linda Lamone.
Oh, right, and we got,
Yes.
I move that we approve that.
So,
I'll second that.
so any discussion? Approve, raise your hand. All right, approved. Thank you. Any more?
No more. Not
General
from me.
Sample ballot.
Yeah.
Because do you want to go back to Michael Fletcher? who I
Yeah, I
believe
will
is
go
the
back.
one?
When we were talking about the public, if they wanted to talk, we got disconnected. Mr. Fletcher is there and we have few other which they wanted to talk. So we let them talk now. Go ahead, Alice.
Yeah, so Mr. Fletcher, if you can identify yourself, if not, I think there's a phone number call in that I can identify. Is that
He
you right there
he
waiting?
needs to be unmuted.
Yep.
Mike and Rosie?
Jerry, could you please unmute Mike and Rosie?
I think Mr. Fletcher was with us from the beginning.
But anyhow,
There you go.
Hello,
You've now
Alright,
been
so-
unmuted.
yes, you can talk.
hello.
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay, great. The host wouldn't let me unmute myself for the first time around.
sorry.
Good afternoon. I'll get this over with quickly. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Fletcher, MICHAELFLETCHER. I've been a resident of Montgomery County for more than 40 years. I've observed the voting system in Montgomery County evolve during this time. In the last 10 years, this evolution has progressed to the point where I believe that this board can no longer assure me that our elections are fair and accurate, because control of the election process, which is the responsibility of the board, has been turned over to outside organizations. While I have concerns with the county relying on a third party, that is Eric, I guess that's mainly the state board handling Eric, to maintain clean voter rolls, my main concern is with the ES&S of electronic machines that tabulate our votes in elections. As I stated in my email to Montgomery County Election Director in September 13th, 2021, and in my letters to the board dated March 1st and June 7th of this year, these electronic machines are computers. Computers can be programmed to perform any operation that the programmer desires. There have been documented instances of electronic voting machines deleting votes and switching votes from one candidate to the other. My concern is shared by many people on both sides of the political spectrum. Information provided in two reports back in 2018 by the House of Representatives under Nancy Pelosi and the Center for American Progress, they warned of vulnerabilities of the voting systems across the USA and noted that voting machines that record and tally votes run on software that is vulnerable to cyber intrusions. A cyber intrusion can result in a machine being reprogrammed. So that a machine that was certified on one day can be reprogrammed the next day to alter the way it tallies votes. Cyber intrusion can be effected locally by plugging in a reprogrammed thumb drive or remotely by hacking into the machine from the internet. In Wisconsin, there were ES&S machines connected to the internet. The basic problem is that neither the board, your staff, or the election workers in the precincts have any idea how the machines are programmed. They are black boxes. The operation of these machines is considered proprietary by the third-party companies that produce them. When the screen on the ES&S machines that we use say thank you for voting, your ballot has been counted, a voter cannot be sure how his or her vote has been counted. Therefore, it is likely too late to eliminate voting machines in Montgomery County prior to the gubernatorial election. However, there is something the board can do now to strengthen the integrity of the upcoming election by approving an audit of 3 or 4 races in Montgomery County that would compare the machine counts versus the hand count of the paper ballots to confirm that the voting machines are accurately reflecting our votes. Simply by announcing that such an audit would be conducted, the board would at least make it more difficult for anyone who was so inclined to tamper with the integrity of the election. I am ready and willing to assist in recruiting the citizens required to conduct any hand counts. That's the extent of my statement.
Hello,
If you'd like me to respond to that, I can, or you can.
just,
Yeah.
what we are,
I-
he was disconnected. What is that?
No, he's still, he said he concluded his comments.
He's still there.
He's still there.
Yeah, I
Okay,
am done, yes.
thank you, Mr. Fletcher. For your information, research just came out. State of Maryland is second in the country, a clean vote, no problem, voter integrity, and whatever you name them. We are second in the country. We're pushing for it to be first, of course. First of all, then now, our board attorney can answer some of the question. Kevin, do you want to say something?
Well, sure.
Okay.
We don't use touchscreens. We have paper ballots, and obviously we have scanners that we use to go ahead and scan and tabulate votes. But to ensure that the vote is accurately tabulated, part of the post-election verification that's done is that we specifically audit certain polling places to make sure that the equipment functioned as it's supposed to, and that the scanners correctly tabulated the votes.
It's my understanding that you simply run the ballots through the same machines again and see if the numbers agree between the first count and the second count, correct?
Well, Janet would need to
If the
go ahead.
machine was,
Janet would need to go ahead and address this, but Mr. Fletcher, also another thing to keep in mind, and I actually started to dictate a letter to you over the weekend. So we're going to talk before you're going to get my letter, which is more to the point. Montgomery County does not pick the voting system used by the state of Maryland, nor do we have the luxury of selecting a different system than the State Board of Elections directs us to use. So while I appreciate your comments, really this is a concern that really should be raised with the State Board of Elections, because this board does not have the authority to go ahead and select a different system than what is otherwise required by the state board.
okay, I understand.
I
Do
can
you,
make
do you
it,
have the authority to conduct an audit independent of the state?
I can make a few additional comments on that, and I think Mr. Fletcher has accurately characterized a lot of concerns that the voters do have, and not just here in Maryland, but across the country, in light of some of the conversation that's been had about these issues over the years. And one of the important things that I think it's important, just as Mr. Fletcher said, just letting it be known that we do conduct audits is something that I think that we could do more of, because we do. I think there's a couple of different things that are important for voters to know and understand about our process. And at times we've packaged some of this information up on our website and in the sample ballot. And we can maybe package some of that up for our website again. But we do, number one, we have what we call the logic and accuracy testing of the voting equipment, which is something that we made a brief allusion to earlier, but didn't really discuss in detail, which is that we actually have ballots that are marked with an expected outcome that we test the voting equipment on in order to make sure that the equipment is tabulated accurately. That's the first thing on the sort of front end of the process that we do in order to test, because absolutely computers are computers and they're programmed to do what you tell them to do. And so we after they're programmed, then we test them to see how they are tabulating and to verify that the equipment is tabulating accurately before it's locked down and put under seal. And then on the back end, among the things that are done in Maryland, and this is all really statewide, because as Kevin pointed out, these are not really things that these are processes that in Maryland are done statewide. But we also have the what we call the clear ballot audit, which is an independent software tabulation that does exactly what I think Mr. Fletcher was saying earlier about checking, not just taking one vendor's word for the results, or the reports, the printouts of one system, but the images of the ballots themselves are actually independently tabulated by a completely different set of software, by a completely different company. They do not have the precinct level results yet from our vendor before they independently scan the ballots and do a tabulation at the precinct level as well. And then those results are compared against each other so that we have two separate systems that have both separately come up with the results of the system so that we're able to verify the accuracy of one. And then of course, we do have a number of different audit steps, things that we do after election day, some of which we do prior to certification of the election, and some of which we do after certification of the election. But that does include physical handling of ballots, of a percentage of the ballots. And of course, in the case of this last primary election, we had the full recount. And so Montgomery County voters had the experience of seeing an actual hand tabulation in a contest. And so for what reassurance that can offer to voters of the way that the process is handled. But I agree that simply saying that we do audits is a helpful matter for the public. And so I think we can certainly take that point from you, Mr. Fletcher. And I'm happy to make sure that we go ahead and take some of the information that we've put out before about these processes and make sure that we link that on our website.
David?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Fletcher, thank you for coming to us with your questions. I just wanted to highlight two things. One is that my understanding, and our staff can confirm this, is that our equipment is not connected to the internet. And so you made reference to another state where you said that there might have been something to do with the internet, and I'm not familiar with how that state operates its equipment, but it shouldn't be possible for someone to hack into our systems on the internet if we're not connected to the internet. Allison, is that an accurate assessment of our relationship to the internet?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that was the first point. And then I guess the second point I was going to make is that we have most of our balloting is done on paper ballots, whether it is at early voting or election day or by mail-in ballot. We have ballot marking devices that are not connected to the internet that produce a paper trail. We do not have any method of voting that does not produce some form of paper that has to be counted either by machine or in person. And then I wanted to underscore what Allison kind of alluded to just now about the recount we just went through. We went through a countywide, it was only in the Democratic primary, so it wasn't all the voters, but it was the vast majority of the voters. And the results that were from the hand count and the results that were from the machine count were very close to each other. and some of the differences were a result simply of the board having to make decisions about voter intent in matters that a machine would automatically have thrown out, where we as a board can make human decisions about some of those ballots. But I think you'd find for the most part that the hand count in that recount was very much supporting the machine count. And so I think that should provide some reassurance, the combination of that recount and the fact that we are not connected to the internet, and the fact that our machines are only used, again, the only machines that we use that are, they do produce a paper trail that the hand count can then verify. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Alan, you'd like to say something?
Yeah, a couple of things. To follow up with what David said, we had this recount for county executive, as you know. There were 113,725 votes cast overall in Montgomery County. Not everybody was a Democrat, of course, and some were Republicans, some unaffiliated. Not all the Democrats voted for county executive. We saw ballots where people didn't vote for anybody for county executive. We saw ballots where they overvoted. People voted for 2 people or 3 people for county executive. In any event, when you're talking about a huge number of votes that were cast, correct me if I'm wrong, initially, Mr. Elrich won by around 45 votes. As a result of the recount, he won by 32 votes. So if that's correct, the upshot of the recount was a change of 13 votes. Also, my understanding is when we do these audits, over the years, they find maybe a handful of ballots shifting from one person to another person because the machine didn't pick up the oval correctly. So we are extremely accurate. And as David said, the votes go into thumb drives. The votes don't go into the internet. The only time it goes into the internet, as I understand it, is after we have our entire count from all of the precincts, and we know what all the in-person voting is. Then at that point, that vote, which is, you can take it to the bank, there are papers to back it up, that's sent to the State Board of Elections. So that's the only time it goes on the internet, unless it goes by modem now. I know that it goes from regional centers to the headquarters by modem, not touching the internet. Finally, on ERIC, ERIC is a nonprofit organization which has 32 states, so-called blue states, so-called red states. And what they do, of course, Mr. Fletcher, is they collect information, registration information from boards of elections from the 32 states that participate. So that if somebody registers, let's just say in Florida, which is one of the states, and they had been in Maryland, Florida will tell Maryland's Board of Elections, so-and-so has now moved to Florida. They register in our state. So that gives the State Board of Elections and us notice that person should be taken off the roll. So now they're registering in Florida. So it's a nonprofit organization, and it really helps to make sure people don't vote in 2 different states. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Kevin?
I don't have anything else.
Oh, your hand is up.
Diane.
My hand has
Diane.
been up.
Yes.
I want to thank Mr. Fletcher for his comments. I am intrigued by the portion you presented concerning the black box. I've read a lot about some of the issues over the last 2 years, and I want to reiterate what Kevin Karpinski said about presenting this information to the State Board of Elections, since the county board doesn't have any authority to act on it, or not act on it, but to do anything about it and go into it deeper. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, Diane.
Understand.
Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Fletcher, do you have something to say?
No, Madam President, I think I'll take what you said and possibly talk to the State Board of Elections about some of these issues. But I want to thank you for taking the time and explaining various aspects of the system to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you very much. So we have other,
So we do have a few more and we'll see if they're on. Willie Borden has some comments regarding the redistricting.
no, nobody's there. Go ahead.
John Smith,
Mm,
also redistricting.
they're not here.
Anna Nunez.
No.
Okay.
All right then. Okay, thank you. Board Attorney's report. Kevin, sorry.
Thank you. So really two items. As you know, the State Board of Elections filed their emergency petition to start the canvass early. It was decided to file it in the Circuit Court for Montgomery County, and Judge Bonifant, who's the administrative judge for the Circuit Court, is decided to hear the case. The trial, not your traditional trial, but the trial was going to go forward tomorrow for 2 hours. My understanding is that there's not going to be any live testimony, that basically the parties have stipulated to the matters set forth in the State Board's emergency petition. However, Allison is going to be present just in case there is a need for any sort of live testimony. But it'll be in front of Judge Bonifant tomorrow. He's going to hear testimony or an argument for about 2 hours. And then this Friday at 3 o'clock, he's going to render his decision, which I assume probably will be an oral opinion that he'll read from the bench. And then depending upon what that decision is, I would suspect that it would get to the Court of Appeals sometime later next week. The court generally fast tracks these things. And I would be surprised if the clerk for the Court of Appeals has not already been notified that it may need to be added to the court's calendar for argument next week. So that's where things stand with the emergency petition. The other thing is, as you know, we had a petition candidate for Councilmanic 4. The board processed the petition, determined that there weren't enough signatures. The candidate, the petitioner, needed 1% of the total number of eligible voters for Councilmanic 4, and that the person was unfortunately short. That was challenged in the Circuit Court for Montgomery County. Judge Salant held a hearing on cross motions for summary judgment, granted the Montgomery County Board of Elections motion for summary judgment. And fortunately, no appeal was taken from that decision to the Court of Appeals. So that matter has been resolved. So the big legal matter that we're waiting for some guidance on is whether the canvass can begin early prior to the general election. Alex asked about what's that look like. It doesn't require anyone to start canvassing early, and it doesn't require that you meet every day. It simply provides flexibility that the board could, as of October 1, I believe, begin canvassing ballots on a staggered basis or as frequently as they wish to do. I think as of October 1, given when ballots are going to be going out, then it would not be October 1. But if the relief is granted, then that will allow the board to begin canvassing earlier and hopefully getting some of these ballot marking device ballots out of the way, which obviously slow down the process on the back end.
You mean the internet delivery ballots, Kevin? You said
I'm
ballot
sorry.
marking device.
I'm sorry, ballot. It's been a long day. Yeah, the internet ballots. Correct.
Kevin, a couple questions. So would the canvassing process could go forward early, but would they still defer actually scanning them until November 10th, or would they start scanning as well and therefore tabulating?
My understanding is that they would be able to scan, but you cannot upload the results, so they remain embargoed.
And do you expect this trial before Judge Bonifant? I guess, is it fair to say that whether this situation constitutes an emergency within the meaning of the statute is going to be a disputed issue for the trial?
I think there are two issues, key issues that the court is focused on. One is this truly an emergency within the definition of the statute? And the second is a separation of powers issue, whether the court has the authority to take and grant the relief that's being requested. I think those are the two principal legal issues that the court is really focused on and has requested briefing on. So no great surprise, what Judge Bonifant's thinking about.
Diane?
Yeah, thank you. Kevin, to follow up on Alex's question about the processing, would that be necessarily open to the public?
Oh, certainly. I mean,
Okay.
if it's an early canvas, just like any other canvas we have, it's going to require a quorum of the board, and it will be open to the public for the public to go ahead and observe the process.
Okay, so the votes that would be processed would not be tallied and released, but there still would be public eyes on what's coming in. And I guess that's rhetorical.
Oh, hold on. Alison has some answer. Go ahead, Alison. Just hold on. Go ahead.
Well, the piece I just wanted to make sure to let you all know about is that it as a legal matter, I believe that yes, we would be able to scan the ballots immediately. But as a practical and administrative matter, I don't know that we would. I think, there's still some conversations to be had with the state over how exactly we would do that. But as you know, we don't always canvass ballots the same day that we scan them. And so, we package them and we seal them. And then we bring them back from the offsite canvas location to our office in order to then do the scanning. And so that's kind of a to be determined piece in terms of the timing on that. I know our IT staff have some administrative concerns about, trying to do that every day. And so I'm not saying that we wouldn't do it before election day, but we wouldn't necessarily always be doing it the same day that we canvassed. And I just wanted to make sure that the board understood that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. My concern is what sort of public information could become available with eyes on the ballots being processed before election day, or even at this point before early voting. And if we had some more, for example, if this were the staff back at headquarters getting these things ready for the canvass, I'd be okay with that. But that's before they're moved into public view. So that's just the extent of my comments. I wanted to raise those concerns.
Well, the public would be able to observe the process just like they did for the canvas. So I guess whatever information you can glean from that, frankly, I don't think you can glean much. But they would be able to observe that. And then the scanning would occur whenever the IT staff, I guess, determined the scanning should take place. But it wouldn't be any different than what we do for early voting, which is on election day. We upload all of the memory sticks from early voting so that at 8 o'clock we can go ahead and post those results right when the polls close. So, as the scanning goes on, no one would know, would be privy to, the results prior to the polls closing on election night.
And Kevin, when you say we, that's a very limited set of people. It's not we, the board. It's, it's a staff person or two, as I understand it,
right.
In order to prevent exactly the problem that I think Diane is referring to.
Yeah, staff, the board doesn't know, board and myself, we don't play any role in that process. So that's, and obviously nothing gets uploaded to the state until after the election's over.
Okay. Yeah, and I was talking about the division that I think we talked about in an earlier conversation about the voluminous amount of work that needs to be done by staff at headquarters, which is not open to the public before these ballots are brought in to be canvassed, where they're actually unsealed,
They are not unsealed by the staff.
Seal. No, that's right.
The
Okay, then
bal-
I don't have a bifurcation. I have a concern about these things being canvassed or processed ahead of time. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Finish? Any
Uh,
more?
I do not have anything else.
Yes, David.
I just want to say briefly that I think that Alex and Diane earlier in this meeting raised some very serious concerns about the need for us to complete our work in time for elected officials to get sworn in. And that, the only way, the way that this process would work, if the judge allows it to work that way, would be for that process to start somewhat earlier without the results being made known. But it would only really lighten the load later if our voters vote earlier. So if voters vote by mail and they wait till the last minute, we can start canvass in October, but we'll have no ballots to process. So the only way that we will actually be able to make headway would be if voters start voting sooner. I know a lot of voters of more than one political party who are ready to vote right now, and other than the fact that they don't have ballots yet. But that obviously would be an important part of, if we are to get ahead of the game, the voters have to vote earlier or there'll be no ballots for us to process.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
So, yes, Diane, your hand is up.
No, I don't think it
It
is.
was a mistake. All right, then, we're
Thanks.
finished this part. The next one is old business. Do we have any old business?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
Alan and I are in the process of looking at the issue of storage of campaign materials at voting sites. We will probably not have a report available until the October meeting, but I just wanted to report that we are in progress.
Okay, let me tell you something. Sorry. Our staff already working and they do not have any problem. The only problem we have is two places. One is executive office building, which I'm very familiar, and practically they do not have room to store those materials. It was before they could do it in the hallway, but right now we're using that for our people to check in. So this is, nothing can be done. The other one is that, Kevin, help me with that one, which you're very familiar.
Activity Center, Borough Park.
Or go ahead.
Well, they won't allow anyone to store anything there. That's.
So nothing
that's
can be
standing
done.
practice.
I don't know if that subcommittee
Madam
is
President,
meeting. Yes,
Madam President, getting back to the executive office building, when you say that they say they don't have space, who at the executive office building is saying that?
Now I'm saying that is no space to store those things. Before they could do, they told the people just come and put it right by in the hallway somewhere in the corner because it's monitored 24 hours. But then now, since we're using portion of it for checking for people, no room for anything. It is a small room which they use for storing their table and chair, but that small room is used by our judges for their break,
Well,
lunch, for.
Madam President, is there some reason why we can't let Ami and Alan follow up on that? Because it seems that it's a pretty large building. And you are referring to the floor where the voting takes place, but I don't remember exactly how many floors that building is. It's a large building. And the idea that
There are offices there. This is a large.
yes,
building.
yes, absolutely. But I guess, I thought that the goal of the committee was to explore what the options are and perhaps to consider options that haven't been done before if the options that were done before are no longer viable.
Mr.
And
Subban helped us when he was here. to provide some.
Yeah, but
space for-
he doesn't work in the county, for the county anymore.
I'm telling you, they were using the hallway, corner of the hallway, but right now, since you're using it, they cannot do that. Yes, Allison.
Well, I guess my question then is why were we tasked to even look at it?
Well, why wouldn't you look at it? Because it seems like there should be other options that can be considered. I thought that that was the purpose of your
Yeah.
group.
No, that's what I thought.
And my understanding was that eventually campaigns were allowed to put their stuff under the stairs. And that worked out okay.
Part of the reason that a committee was created and tasked with this, is because I was raising concerns as well. And so I would like to sort of frame the discussion a little bit and make a point that I've made to the committee members too, which is that as an administrative matter, early voting used to begin at 10 a.m. Early voting begins at 7 a.m. now.
Yeah.
And so the practical matter of having people who are not our staff handling this in the wee hours of the morning and in the late hours of the night is different than it used to be when voting hours were different. And the problem that we are running into as an administrative matter is that when somebody at the facility is tasked with something and they can't find that person because the door is locked and they're not open yet, then the campaigns are coming to us as a staff and they're asking our staff to take a role that our staff is trained to be very distanced from and not agree to participate in or have any role in.
Yeah.
And so it requires just sort of thinking about this in a different way than we've thought about it before, where I just don't think that we as a staff can any longer say, well, that's happening, but it has nothing to do with us, fingers in the ears. We know nothing about it. Things are different. And so I'm glad that the board is having a conversation about it so that I'm not merely communicating to these facilities, but we're pretending that we don't touch this because we couldn't touch it. It puts us in a difficult position as staff, however you handle it. When there's some sites that do it, sometimes some sites that don't do it, the conversation is happening with our staff on the ground and they are not allowed to have that conversation. It puts us in a rough position. And so that's what I am glad to have the board take on as a discussion item.
Right. I thought that was the entire purpose of the committee that Alan and Ami formed, which is that this is not something that the staff wants to be in the middle of.
And shouldn't be.
And shouldn't be. And it seems like, what is the harm of, even let's suppose that Alan and Ami can find someone in authority in these two locations to come up with a solution that works for all concerned. And again, they still come back to us because it's a committee of the board. I guess I just don't see the harm in looking into it.
Well, we are certainly happy to do so because we agreed to do so, but it doesn't certainly help our morale if we're told it's a useless effort.
Well, that wouldn't be my view.
Do anybody else have some idea?
I think we'll wait until we have something more to report then, Madam Chairman.
Yes, just because Chris is working on this issue. So let's see what she comes.
I'm sorry, who is working on this issue?
Chris and the people who.
I thought that Allison just said that she doesn't want the staff to work on this issue. Am I wrong?
As an administrative matter, we can continue to do what we've done before. But yes, what I am hoping that the board can do is to find a way to have this conversation in a way that takes the staff out of this very difficult position that we find ourselves in.
Okay, well, do you need a motion for us to ask Alan and Ami to work on this issue? Because I thought we already did that. I'm not sure we did it by a motion. But we did do it by a motion.
My recollection is that we did.
Okay, well, if we did it by a motion already, then, I mean, to me, the whole point is you reach out to people either in the executive's office or wherever they tell you for the executive office building, and in the mayor's office or wherever they tell you for the city of Gaithersburg, and you see what they, what their concerns are, and you see whether there's any room for maneuvering. And putting the staff in the middle of this is exactly what I thought was the goal of this committee, to avoid. I mean, that was because we have lots of conversations with these facilities that are on behalf of the board's responsibility to administer elections. This is about the board trying to be sensitive to the needs of the campaigners in both political parties.
I understand why the EOB and Gaithersburg are the two sites that everyone's talking about, because they're the two sites that have said no at times and others have said yes. But quite frankly, the biggest challenges that we had this last election were at the Sandy Spring Volunteer Fire Department. So it's not a matter to me or to the staff of whether the answer is yes or no, or whether the answer is yes at this site or no at that site. It's a matter of who the contact person is and what the campaigns are told to do and who their point of contact is and what they're allowed to do, whether the answer is yes or no at a given site.
Okay, well, then I think I want to talk to you a little, Allison, and
Okay.
then Alan and I will carry on.
Yes.
Perfect,
okay.
thank you.
That's good enough. Thank you. All right, then, action item.
Excuse me, Madam President, I believe that we were going to talk about the sample ballot, and I also had a new business item that I wanted to bring up as well.
Sample ballot.
It's on the agenda.
That is under new business. Go ahead, sir, if you want
There's
to
a
talk
separate
about sample
line
ballot.
item for.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand where we are in the meeting. You were going to action items, but I thought we were, and I thought we were still in new business.
Okay, general election sample ballot. You didn't talk in your conversation.
I didn't have an update item other than having referenced it in my report. So I'm open to any questions, or we did circulate it for, I think it was put on the agenda prior to being circulated to the board for feedback. So since that time, we circulated it to the board for feedback, which we received. Hilberto made those edits to it. I did circulate the most recent, the last, I hope, version of it, which I have not yet gone through with a fine tooth comb myself. I think that's the final version. If there's any board questions or action items, let me know.
Alice, go ahead.
Yeah.
Muted, she's
You're-
muted.
You're muted. Jerry to unmute.
Oh, yeah.
Please unmute.
Okay. Go ahead.
She's, go ahead.
You're
Okay, all right. So in looking through it, I was struck by the fact that it says for the sample ballot in Spanish, it said go to page 25. But prior to page 25, there are actually ballot questions that are in both Spanish and English. And so if I were a Spanish speaking voter and I went to page 25, I'm going to miss all of the ballot questions.
Good
That's a
point.
good point. Yeah.
So I think one of the ways to solve that is to put on the front page where things begin. Like the 3 ways to vote is on page 2, the drop box is on page 4, so that I can just go directly to the section that I'm interested in. And it's on the front there so I can see it.
Such as a table of contents.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily a table of content. It's almost like part of the headline on the first page, right? I mean, you don't really need a separate table.
That's helpful feedback, right? Because the way that we used to structure this, we did the full English version and the full Spanish version, and we actually had the artwork for the ballot in there twice. Now that the ballot is in there once and in the middle, in the primary, we put it to the end, and there were some complaints that was confusing to people. Putting it in the middle seemed to split the difference, but you're right. There's sort of a structural difference in the way that it's put together now that we should Gilberto's not in the meeting right now, or not in the room right now, but I see he's on electronically. Gilberto, if you want to speak to it, you can. Otherwise, we'll just talk about it offline and figure out a way to address this concern.
Yeah, I mean, you could put it at the end, but again, if you had those, the list of pages at the beginning, people would know the sample ballot begins on page 37 or wherever it is, but the whole thing is there. But like I said, I was very struck by, where's all this Spanish showed up in the middle, and now you're telling me to go to page 25, and I'm like, okay, that's a problem. So again, I don't know if you want to, repeat the questions at the end of the Spanish or something, but I think that has to be addressed somehow.
So this is Gilberto. So on the front page, it states in Spanish that the Spanish version, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So in the front cover, it's in the bottom, it says in Spanish that the Spanish sample ballot begins on page 25. Just as Allison stated, for the primary, I put the ballot at the end. We had some concerns that that voters couldn't find the last 2 pages on the ballot. Nonetheless, we moved it to the middle as we've done in the past. Keep in mind that when we do the sample ballot right now, I try to keep with ADA specs as in size of fonts. And if we add more pages, it has to be multiples of 4. So right now, this sample ballot I can't add a period or 2. And so what's going to happen is if I add a table of content, if I move something, if I add more text, we're going to have to add another 4 pages to a 36-page sample ballot, which will then, it becomes a 40-page sample ballot.
Gilberto, could I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
On your cover page where it says, look inside for information on, and it has the 4 check boxes.
Put the page number there?
Put a page number after each one.
Okay, that's easy. We'll do that. Done.
I mean, and then I don't think you have to add
table of contents, right?
Right. Yeah. Because but I will say that I think what Elise was saying is that the sentence in Spanish that you referenced, it says that the sample ballot begins on page 25. That is actually after the ballot itself. The ballot itself is in the middle. And I admit, I'm one of the people who was saying to you, we really should put the ballot in the middle and not at the end, because there were voters who couldn't find the ballot because they weren't reading the Spanish section. My thought on that is that if the cover page tells you where the ballot is located, it almost doesn't matter whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end if it has a page number. If it says the sample ballot, and it can say it in English and in Spanish because the sample ballot is in both, right?
That's bilingual, correct.
Right. So if you were to have something on the front page that said the sample ballot begins on page X, and then say it in both English and Spanish, and by that I don't mean the explanation of the sample ballot, I mean the ballot itself, that may solve the problem. And I won't, like I said, I know I was probably the one who was saying put it in the middle, and I don't have a problem with putting it at the end if that makes it easier, as long as there is a reference to the people who, because I think we're going to have people who are going to pick up the document and they're not going to want to read everything, they just want to get to the sample. And I think we should make it as easy for them as we can.
Okay, so I have a little bit of wiggle room on the front where it says look inside for information on 3 ways to vote. I'll add the corresponding page number to each of those 4 bullets, and then I'll add a 5th check, which will say sample ballot, and then I'll put the page number where that begins in both English and the Spanish.
And then the sentence in Spanish will have to say something different other than the sample ballot is on that page, because it's not the ballot itself.
No, yeah.
It could say like more information or something.
No, it'll say, I'm going to put right under that. So after that 4th checkbox, that MoCo Votes app and phone texting, I will put bilingual sample ballot, and then the page number where it begins, which is essentially page number, I'm going through my ballot, page number 11. And then where it says habla español, su papeleta de muestra está en página 25 or 25. I'm gonna put under that that the bilingual ballot begins on page similar to that fifth option right there underneath the MoCo votes. I'll word it in a way where it's clear for the Spanish speaker looking at this first page. Obviously, for the monolingual English speaker, they'll understand where to look at the particular nuances, the particular information that they may have an interest when they look on the front page. So that front page serves as a slash indices, like an index, right? And then in the Spanish will be the equivalent, obviously, but on that first page, you'll make a note where the Spanish sample ballot begins and where in Spanish, where the bilingual ballot begins as well on that first page.
Elise, does that work for your concern? Or do you want Gilberto to show it to you?
I can't visualize what he's doing based on that. So I don't really know. Like I said, my main concern is just making sure that the Spanish speakers don't miss the ballot question.
Gilberto, if you could share that with Elise whenever you get that, that would be great.
Okay, I will. I'll share it with you.
Yeah, that's great. Could I raise a, are you done, Elise?
Yes, I'm done. I think that's it. That was my main concern. Thank you.
Madam President, could I raise a question?
Go ahead.
Gilberto, I had suggested, and it was not included, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, that on page, let me find the page number.
Is it 4?
No, I'm going to start with page 2.
Oh, okay.
On page 2, the fifth bullet, when it talks about the drop boxes, I had suggested that we say that there are drop boxes at all public high schools, in addition to saying that they are at all early voting centers, and the public high schools are not included. And I didn't know if there was a reason for that.
The Thomas Edison School of Technology is also one of the high schools, and we don't have a box there.
Well, you have a box at Wheaton High School that's literally adjoining it.
I know, but because when we visit all the high schools, there's always been this confusion where the Thomas Edison's is a high school itself. If you want, I will add it. So we'll just keep this brief. So I will add that.
I think it would be helpful, because I think for many people, it's going to be easier for them to remember that than it will be to, to go through the list of all the schools. So if you could, I think it would be good to include. And I'm sorry if I'm offending the folks at Edison, but they really are like immediately adjoining Wheaton High School. So and then my other question is about the list of the Dropbox locations. We had suggested considering how they are alphabetized. There are a number of them that aren't really where you would expect to find them. So Magruder High School is alphabetized under C because Magruder is named after Colonel Zadok Magruder, and the C is for Colonel. Blake High School is listed under J. It is named after Hugh B. Blake, but apparently Hugh B. Blake's given name was James Hubert Blake, which I'm not sure most people would know. And I guess my question is, would it be possible to make the list of the polling places based on their kind of more common names, as opposed to the based on at least the last names as opposed to the first name? So the Lawton Center would not be under J for Jane, and the Preisner Center would not be under M for Maryland, but would be, as most people know them.
What about Richard Montgomery?
I would follow whatever convention MCPS uses for the public high schools, and whatever convention the rec department uses for the rec department facilities.
Well, that's the reason why the schools are named according by MCPS name convention. Number 1, 2, when the vote by mail ballots go out to voters, the schools are listed accordingly, like it's appearing on the school system. And that's how it appears on our list in a sample ballot. And it's always appeared like that since we've had drop boxes since 2002. And then also.
We have not had drop boxes since 2002. We've had drop boxes since 2020.
I mean, 2020, sorry, 2020. A little bit of fatigue here, I'm tired.
Okay.
So obviously 2020. So, and then also, we keep in mind, we also have the app and we have the texting prompt. So there's other resources in addition. And when the mail-in ballot goes out with the listing of the schools is named by the way the nomenclature has for MCPS.
Okay, now
And lastly,
MCPS does not alphabetize Magruder under C.
So lastly, also reformatting that page, because I work with Karen Helms at the print shop. There was a lot of hours in order to format it that way. So, and we want to get this to the print shop as soon as possible. Because that would have been.
Well, as I understood what Allison was saying, it's not going to the print shop until October, and it's September the 19th. And MCPS does not alphabetize the way that we've listed it there. And I would point out that, you know, the person who uses your texting on their cell phone is not going to care about the list that's in the paper sample ballot. They're not going to use it. They're going to use their phone. But the person who uses the sample ballot is going to be looking for a traditional list. And this is not that. I included, when I submitted my comments, I included a link to how Montgomery County alphabetizes the schools. It is not in the same fashion. I also gave you the link not only for the school system, but also for the rec department. That is not how they list them.
David?
Yes.
What question for you? Do you know how the school system alphabetizes places like Richard Montgomery?
I can find it. If I can find my comments, I would be happy to, you know, I will find you that link. Absolutely.
Because I mean, I think we should do it according to the school standard, because I don't know that we'd be able to come up with a common agreement on what, you know, the informal name. Hold on, just let me finish.
Yeah,
what the informal name would be, you know, versus the formal name. You know, that's the problem.
No, I agree with that. I would suggest that we follow the same the convention that the school system follows, and I'm going to pull that up for you in just a second here.
I will share it with you. I have it right now. That's what I'm trying to see how I could share
Well,
it.
and I'm happy to look at it. I don't want to have to put Gilberto through a lot more reformatting work unless it's really necessary.
It's got BCC, the Montgomery Blair,
Exactly.
got James.
Diane,
Schubert,
you have
Blake.
something to say, Diane? Your hand is-
Yeah, Ellen, are you on the,
Yeah, it goes Bethesda, Chevy Chase,
I don't
Montgomery
know who
Blair.
was first, who was second, because the other conversation was too long. Alan, your hand was before Diane. Go ahead.
Okay. Bethesda, Chevy Chase, Montgomery Blair, James Hubert Blake, Winston Churchill, Clarksburg, Damascus, Einstein. Looking to the last name here, Gaithersburg, Walter Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Colonel Zadok Magruder. Magruder is there. Richard Montgomery, Northwest, Northwood, Paint Branch, Poolsville, Quince Orchard, Rockville, Seneca Valley, Sherwood, Springbrook, Watkins Mill, Wheaton, Walt Whitman, and then Thomas Wooten. It's a page 3 of this listing on their website. Listing of high schools.
I'd like to interject here, if I may, just to flag a distinction. The last item that we talked about was a matter of adding, I think, making a relatively small change to the front. Gilberto has pointed out that there are some, and I don't know how much sort of playing with desktop publishing software you all have done, but you start moving things around and then things kind of move to the left here or the right, or there's a graphic designer with the county that we work with, and that when Gilberto made reference to a print shop, that graphic designer works for the county's print shop. That's a completely different entity than the printer for the sample ballot itself. There's some sequencing here. I think that without prejudging it one way or the other, as far as making a change, I think that board members, you've now pointed out to Gilberto that there's another source potentially that we could go to make a change. That's a conversation that I think Gilberto will need to have with the person with the graphic designer who has been doing this work with us as far as the, what that's going to change. So this is a challenge, and my daughter went to Blake High School, so I hear this concern, and we had it as a staff initially when we were trying to figure out the right way to do this. And yeah, do we file Richard Montgomery under R, under M, if we're filing James Hubert Blake under B instead of J? And that's how we ended up with just this very sort of strict alphabetizing of it. But I hear the concern.
You're
and I think
alphabetizing
Roberto-
based on first name here.
I totally hear the concern, and I agree with it. We're given the time constraint. I just want to ask that the board give Gilberto a little flexibility here to hear the concern, see what he can do to address it. We may or may not be able to address it before this needs to, because there's, we do have some time constraints. There is a single version of the document that then needs to be split up into many versions before it goes to the printer itself, and the graphic design support. I was here doing some of this at 3 a.m. myself last time, so I have an understanding of the time constraints that Gilberto is dealing with. I would just like to ask the board, having flagged this concern, having given the suggestion of another way for us to do it, for us to see if we can address it without necessarily committing to it one way or the other.
Just be clear, the suggestion was not, excuse me.
People talk to. Alan's hand is up. Diane, hand is up.
Fine.
Talk or no? Diane.
My turn. I'm not on. I have another suggestion. It's not regarding this issue. Are you guys done with that issue?
Can I just make one point about that issue? Allison, I'm happy to give the space for that discussion to happen. We did not suggest this for the first time today. We suggested it on the schedule that you gave us for making suggestions about the sample ballot. So that, just to be clear, we did it with plenty of time for that conversation to take place. I think we are talking about something that would be useful for the voters.
Got it.
Okay, anybody else wanted to talk?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I am going to say something that I brought up years ago, and that will not strike anybody as unusual. That's one of my concerns. And it would not change any texting or any type differences. It's not adding any script, but if you look at pages 2 and 3, I strongly recommend, on a concern I've raised many times, that for issues I'm not going to spend 20 minutes going into, that we've been concerned with during this meeting, and knowing the great power of persuasion in suggestion, I think that we should first list in-person voting. I think pages 2 and 3 should be changed. It would mean simply renumbering. It wouldn't be changing the entire page 1. Wait, where does this go? The entire page 1 can be, the entire page 2 can be put on page 3. Page 3 can be put on page 2. You would end up in a more logical sequence, having the mail-in ballot return bleed right into the 4th page, which is the mail-in drop box list. And I've raised this issue before. I think we should be encouraging in-person voting. In the last election, there were more votes cast in person than mail-in ballots. And this is not something I'm bringing up for the first time, but I would like to see if that could be accomplished.
Thank you, Diane. Alan?
Well, I plan to talk about something else, but on that subject, I would say mail-in ballot comes first in chronology. Early voting is second, election day is next. That's just my point of view. But my concern was about.
Well, can I get a comment from Gilberto or anybody who is in a position to entertain what I just suggested.
Roberta, do you have any suggestion to Diane's request? Roberta is gone home.
Well, oh, Madam President,
Roberta,
maybe Gilberto should speak to this, but I think Diane has a point. I think that, my fear is we're gonna be overwhelmed with mail-in balloting, and it's not like I want to discourage it, but I don't know that it should necessarily get top billing. I understand the point about chronological order, but I think it might make sense to reverse the order of pages 2 and 3. And I agree that Diane has actually a
Roberta is
good
here.
point about the fact that the description of the mail-in balloting process would immediately precede the page where you show people where they can go to get a drop box.
Roberto, did you hear what Diane said? Did you get a chance? Oh, your things is down. Can you ask him?
Jerry,
Yeah.
want me to reiterate quickly?
Mute. Jerry, please unmute.
He's
Roberto.
on mute. He's muted.
I hope he heard it.
Okay,
Can Jerry, can you unmute Gilberto, please?
I'm back.
There we go.
He's there.
So mail-ins, because it's in chronological order, the ballots will be circulating in a couple of weeks. So technically voters will be leveraging that option first before early voting. And then the last opportunity is election day. That's the reason why it was established on chronological order.
Yeah, I find that not persuasive. I think the fact that this whole board meeting has been focused well, not the whole meeting. We all know our concerns about what the canvas takes. And that's what I meant, but I don't want to spend 20 minutes reiterating why, through the power of persuasion, something that has historically been the way we voted in this country forever, and that's in person, that all of a sudden it be taking a back seat to mail-in voting, which is offering timing issues, resource issues, manpower issues, voter integrity issues in some places. And I just don't think a chronology is a persuasive manner when everybody knows the day of the election. And it's simply switching pages 2 and 3. I just don't think mail-in voting has sufficiently earned the top spot, given all the concerns that it brings with it. So I again respectfully request that the traditional, most easily processed manner of voting be given top billing, and that logically the mail-in voting bleeds right into where you drop how you can dispense with the mail-in ballot. That's it.
I'm just going by the chronological, and I respect your opinion. I just go by the chronological order. Ballots will be available and voters can start voting.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't see
hesitating.
where chronology has ever been the determinant in our electoral process. I mean, if you want to go chronologically, looking at how we voted our entire history, first would come in-person voting. Chronologically, mail-in would come last. I understand how you're using chronology, but that's what I mean. I don't find it persuasive because you can define the chronology 2 different ways.
I'm hesitating to weigh in here because I know there's multiple hands up and I don't want to step on a policy conversation among the board members. But I also don't want to be, well, I'll just say that to me, I think this is a policy conversation for the board to have. As far as, I think what Diane's concern is and what Diane is suggesting as far as how we package information and the way that the notion that we should be encouraging voters to choose one method over another method. What I want to just say as an administrative matter, I think this is much like the other one in that even though it might seem like it's not a big deal to reorder things, I think it is. And I think that any kind of a substantive change like that is something that I would really hesitate to do at this hour. It's a conversation that even if the board wanted us to do a substantive change, I would certainly need to have Hilberto and the graphic designer have some conversations, because I really don't think that the board's maybe fully appreciating how much work would be involved for the graphic designer to make these changes.
Okay, and I want to say, I think calling it a substantive change supports my argument that if you consider pushing mail-in voting as substantive, I don't think we should be doing it. I think substantive would mean changing a process. This is simply reordering pages 1 and 2. You'd have to flip 3 numbers, 1, 2, and 3. It wouldn't change any spacing, because I've compared the 2 pages. Just pull them both up and look at them. Not one type of text needs to be changed. They're exactly the same, top to bottom, page 2, page 3. Just renumber, move page 3 to number 2, take the 3 off it, because we don't want to consider in-person voting your third method of voting. We would like that to be first. I mean, I think you could even, let me pull the page back up. Mail in. Yeah, I mean, you can start, if you're worried about chronology, keep the top again, early voting centers. That can be number 1, number 2, election day. Those are both in-person voting. I think that should be the first. I think that should be the first information we give our voters.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks.
I don't know, is Alan was first or David was first? You two go ahead and talk to each other.
David, you want to go first? Oh,
You're
okay.
you're okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
According to Wikipedia, absentee ballots were first used for the military during the American Civil War. By 1938, 42 states allowed absentee voting for civilians. So it's an old method of voting.
I don't think they called it mail-in back then, without an excuse, if not for a particular special subset, which is the military, which by design is not even on domestic soil and needs to have I just find that completely unpersuasive. And needs to have a special way of being and manner of being able to vote. They can't, by virtue of their position, be dependent on to have the ability to vote in person. So I find that not persuasive.
Well, my point was, it's not a new method of voting. It's been around for over 100 years.
Thank you, Alan. David.
Thank you, Madam President. I am not necessarily expecting to be persuasive to Diane, who I know has very strong views on this subject. I would say that I think Diane has made it into a substantive issue by suggesting that putting these in chronological order of when the voters would utilize them is somehow denigrating in-person voting, which I don't think it is at all. I think that there's a number of factors for why we do this the way that we have. I will point out that in the 2020 general election, we had more than 300,000 people who voted by mail. That
was COVID. We all understand what.
Yes.
What caused that?
Yes. But you know, regardless.
And emergency rules and all sorts of changes. I'm sorry, David. My apologies.
Well, I am not suggesting that because there were 300,000 people who voted by mail, that voting by mail should go first for that reason. All I'm suggesting is that this is what it really comes down to. I don't think that it's our place to be encouraging or discouraging the legal methods of voting. It is our job to let everyone know what their choices are. And I know that there were times, I've been on the board now for 11 years. There are times that I heard people say that they didn't want us to talk about absentee voting because of the extra work it causes for the board and the staff. To which my reaction is, it's a legal method of, this is many years ago. This is before before it became so popular. And my reaction to that is, we are here for the convenience of the voters and not for the convenience of the board members and the staff. And there's no question that the more mail-in ballots we have, the more work it is for me personally. Okay, the more leave I take from my day job, and the more work it is for all of us on the board. That is not a reason for us to tell people how they should vote when the legislature and the governor, they establish the laws. The voters are given the option of several different methods of voting, all of which the state has said are valid ways of voting. And I think it's completely reasonable and useful to the voters that we say to them that here is the one you can do now. Here is the one you can do later, and here is the one that you can do on election day. Let me just add one more thing. Out of the three methods of voting, the one where the voters will have the fewest questions is about voting on election day, because they've done it so often. So they're going to need the least guidance from us in order to figure out how to do that. They probably know exactly the hours for the polling places because they've been the same since I was a little kid. They have a pretty good idea of where they're voting, and they're going to be able to know that by looking at the outside of the sample ballot. So to me, the chronological order makes very good sense. But I don't think, I understand that there are some members of our board have preferences for some methods of voting over others. Some of us may have preferences for how we personally vote compared to others, but it may not be the preference of the person who lives next door to me or even in the same home. My goal would be to educate all the voters about all their options and let them choose.
Finish. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
All right then. Thank you very much. Diane, you still want to talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to, David made a and I have to say, I agree with most of what you said. And David made a very strong point about how, and I certainly hope this is not casting aspersions, about recommending which ways people should vote because of the amount of work it would cause us. And that David's position is he's here to make things easier for the voter. I don't disagree with those. I think it's something we're all working towards. But I don't want it to be mistaken by anybody that is the calculation I'm making.
Oh, I didn't mean to suggest that.
Okay, great. Because
No,
if it were
yeah.
for the ease of the voter, I think we should take a voting machine to every house. That would be easy, but you know what? We don't have the manpower for it. We don't have the time. We don't have, I mean, if it were in law that way. So just logically, I just wanted to say that my calculation, make no mistake, has nothing to do with the amount of work it produces for me or this board. I'm looking at the practicalities and historically, and I have always believed that the integrity of an in-person vote is the best way to do it. And I don't want to let that message, which is historically the way we've always voted, be lost in this. And again, I respectfully request that we can see if those numbers, if those pages can be flipped. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Alan, do the last one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a new topic to bring up. That's on page 24 of the sample ballot brochure. It says poll workers can earn up to $1,830. And my question is, per what? Don't we want to tell volunteers it's per week or session or what is it per?
Depending how many days of early voting and election day.
So you want to say 1830, depending upon how long you serve or something like that?
Okay, I'll be added.
And then similarly, the $630 stipend, how, is that for the entire service or how does that work?
Say that again.
In the middle of the page,
Oh, yeah,
$630
because high
stipend.
schoolers, so remember in the summer, a lot of the high schoolers did multiple early voting days and election day. They're in school, they're back in session, school's back in session. So the shifts really don't work well with the high school students' schedule. So really the availability for high schoolers will be the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and on election day because schools are closed. It's very difficult for us to expect a high schooler who worked on a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday over the summer to work during the academic year. So it comes out to, if they're a VOP, they could earn up to 65 student service learning credits. So it's for every hour they provide, we give them 1 SSL hour. And that's where the number 65 comes up to. And the stipend could be up to 630. And so we're looking at the VOP, $200 a day plus the $30 training. So 200 times 3 is 600 plus 30 is $630.
You want to say $630 stipend total?
No, it's up to.
Okay, well.
Because it's up to, because I'm
1830.
looking at, for example, my son Sebastian, he's a junior. So if he works election day and works half a day on a Saturday, depending on his schedule.
You ready?
So it doesn't add up 630, but that's 200 plus 100, that's 300 plus training, 330. So the max is up to 630. The minimum will be let's say a part-time greeter on a Sunday. That's $70.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to just use the number that was representative of election day and election day only. And so what
Mhm,
Alberto has
exactly.
done is to use the higher number that shows that, recognizes the reality that people are doing this more than one day. And it's a bigger chunk of change in the wallet.
Mhm.
Madam Chair,
Does it need
Madam
additional
Chairman,
clarifying text, or was that just to clarify it? Do we really need to put depending on, or?
I will. There's room. I could add. There's only like a couple of words at the last sentence. It's not difficult.
Madam
For
Chair,
the election? Sorry.
Yes,
Right.
me.
that's me. I need to drop off because I have to drive someplace. I'll log back in with, from my car,
Okay,
just letting you know.
yes, okay. Hopefully we will.
Can I-
see you by that time.
Can
Yes,
can I say something before Ami leaves us?
You already left.
Too
Oh,
late.
She'll be back.
oh, okay.
Right?
I'm wondering if I should if I should suggest a motion to swap pages 2 and 3, because I want to make sure that we don't just walk away from this issue.
We are not making any policy thing. We were talking about the sample ballot. So.
Okay,
I
then
need
can
to-
I
as-
hear-
Hold on, as Gilberto say, it's very difficult as a graphic designer or something to change
Can-
these things which we talk about it.
can I hear back on what the
Anyhow,
decision, what
okay.
what the reaction would be, Roberto?
I need to contact my counterpart. There's a couple of things, even though on one end looks simple, but on her end, and unfortunately, I would love to have her skills, and unfortunately, I would like to, commandeer her for just the Board of Elections, but she is shared upon about 20 other departments. And so I got to talk to her after I leave. I hear your point that those 2 pages, really the focus is 3 ways to vote. And so I will talk to Ms. Helms. And my job is to, obviously, I'm a staff member, and I respect everyone's opinions equally. And obviously we're here, at the end of the day, we're here to serve each voter. and we have over 675,000 plus. So I will talk to my counterpart. I will do my best to please the board's wishes, and all of the different edits added to the sample ballot. And obviously, I wish the sample ballot was the only thing I needed to do. So, but we'll get to it, and I will make it work. But at the end of the day, we're all here to serve our voters.
So when you say you'll make it work,
I'll see if I can make it work, because I'm not doing the changes.
okay.
I
it would
don't-
be-
the
it would
way-
be the- It would be the numbers that need to be reordered.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the simplest is just swapping page 2 and 3, right? I will talk to my counterpart to see if that's doable. And my goal is to take all of the recommended edits in addition to what was emailed last week.
Okay, thank you.
Roberto.
You're welcome.
Alex?
Madam President, the only thing I was going to add was that, we talked about re-alphabetizing the school list for the Dropbox locations. If we can do that, and if we are going to do it, and I'm not sure we will, but then we ought to be able to swap the pages 2 and 3. I think Diana's raised some very valid concerns about that. And, if it's a substantive change, then, any way it's ordered could be seen as giving emphasis one way or another.
I'll make it work. Just for example, something as simple as we added the public transportation route to pages 6 and 7, and also in Spanish, pages 30 and 31. That took like 2 days, day and a half. It's a lot because when you add a line, everything gets moved. So
Yeah, this is
I'll make it
adding
work.
this is adding nothing.
I'm not comparing one recommended edits to another. I'm just saying when you add things, but I'll make it work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Old business. Do we have any old business to discuss? No? Good. Action item. Any action? No.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
once again, I suggested that I wanted to have a new business item after the sample ballot.
Did you check?
They said that to me.
What?
He said
What,
we had an item for new business.
what,
Yes,
yeah.
when we get to the new business, sure.
no, we were in new business. You're skipping ahead, and that's okay. I wasn't quite quick enough on the draw here, but
Because it's too much commotion going on.
yes. So I had said earlier that
Go ahead, and you don't have to make a big deal about it. Go ahead.
I'm not.
That's new business.
I had
thought
said,
we already covered everything, but anyhow, go ahead.
no. I had said earlier that I wanted to make a motion that we support increasing canvasser pay to match or exceed the highest amount that is being paid in the state. And I will make that as a motion.
What do you think?
And that, and something that the budget, like the county council, would like, another increase in money.
I would be happy to lobby the county council if that's required. I think there's a very strong constituency in Montgomery County of all political stripes for us to get our canvas done as quickly as possible, for us to have as many canvassers as possible, for us to pay our canvassers in order to encourage them to work for us.
But we also-
I am asking that, that we pay as highly as the other jurisdictions in Maryland.
So let me say this,
Yeah.
and the board should go ahead and have the conversation, can go ahead and have the conversation. Number one, Kevin, I will defer to you in terms of is this the sort of thing that requires a motion? Is this the sort of thing that we might do administratively after the meeting? Because what I have not done is the math. I don't know what the highest amount is that any other county pays, so I don't know what to tell you to make a motion on if you're going to do that. The other thing that I will say is just in terms of, so there are two conversations, and one, we pay different stipend amounts for different things. And the number that we chose this last time, which I don't even remember whether the board made a motion on it or if it was just done administratively. I don't even think the board did make a motion, whether we did that right or wrong. Was it was effectively a prorated amount that an election judge makes when they serve for that many hours at the polls on election day. We have the VOPA and the VOPB roles, which are effectively like an 8-hour day. And then we have the VOP role where they're serving all day. And so we took that smaller stipend amount that is for a person that works roughly the number of hours that we were working for the canvas. And we use that number for what we paid the canvassers this time. We have paid the canvassers different amounts, different times in the past. We can do that again. There was an equity question that arose in terms of what is the right, not just what is the right amount of money to pay election judges, but what are the right sort of relative amounts to pay different categories of election judges that came into play in the conversation. So that's how we ended up where we ended up. I don't disagree that the amount of money that we pay for any number of things would affect our ability to recruit people to do it. I don't have the right answers. I am happy to do whatever the board asks us to do. And I am also happy to go back with the staff and come up with recommendations. However you all want to handle this, we'll handle it. That's
Alice, what do we pay now?
I'm sorry?
What do we pay now? What is that number? I've actually never known what it is.
$130, which is the amount that we pay a VOPA or a VOPB for their that number of hours at
Per
the
day?
polls.
Is that per day? Of the canvas?
Yes.
Okay, so if the canvas lasts 16 days and somebody was there for 16 days, then it's 16 times 130, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think what David's proposing is that the staff do the research and come back with a recommendation that would increase the pay to be at or above what other jurisdictions are paying.
The only thing I would say to that, Kevin, is that I'm not sure that they have to come back because we don't meet again for another month. And the canvas could potentially be starting before that. But yes, I'm not, the fact that you don't know the number off the top of your head is, you know, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to, and I certainly don't. But I think you get the principle here is that we're the largest jurisdiction. We take the longest to do this almost every election. We should at least not be losing people based on pay. And so if the, you know, and you know, if the board can indicate that that's the direction that we want to move in, and you have a way of accomplishing that after you do the research, I don't personally believe, unless you do, that it needs to come back to the board. I just don't want other jurisdictions to be making it, to be offering people more, so that Montgomery County people who want to do canvassing are going to travel somewhere else to make more money.
Yeah, what I meant by come back, David, was do the research and basically inform the board of what the number will be.
And I'm fine with that. Yes.
Okay, we can do it by email too, if there's something they can email us.
Well, can we vote on this?
You
I'll
want
second
to
the
vote?
motion.
Okay, who seconded? Alan,
I
who
did.
seconded?
Alan,
Yes, we already had enough discussion. Those in favor of,
Oh, Madam President, had a question for the maker of the motion.
go ahead.
So I wonder if my friend or secretary could explain what, like, if the motion passes, what practical result does he foresee this taking if the board approves the motion?
Practical result I foresee is that we will offer greater pay to the people who are working on the canvas for the general election. That if that results in any budgetary problems, that Allison will come back to us and tell us either what adjustments need to be made or what we need to go ask the county executive and the county council to do. Although I'm not sure, we don't know how much the delta is between what we're offering and what others are offering. So we have no idea really how much is, how much this is, this is going to cost. But yeah, what I envision is that we would, they would start implementing this. They would do the research and start implementing it as soon as possible.
So do you foresee that the board can do this on its own without any extra funds from the county council? I mean, are you asking for a commitment that we increase the pay right now?
I'm not sure if this is any different than what we do when on any other expenditure, which is that everything we do, we have to get funding from the funders. But that doesn't mean that we cannot make suggestions and establish what we're doing and then seek the funding as opposed to getting the funding first. And I think this is a very urgent problem that, you know, you and Diane spoke very eloquently at the beginning of the meeting about the problem that we have and our need to have more people. We're going to need more people, whether we do this in October or November or both.
I agree with you. I think you're right about that. I'm not sure that if you know, are there some variables that we don't know yet? Can we commit to doing this if we don't know that we're going to get the funds, or can we just run the deficit? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I'm not quite sure what I can do about that, other than I'm proposing what our view should be as a board. I'm proposing that we direct the staff to implement it. And if the staff runs into obstacles in implementing it, I assume they will come back to us and let us know. And my commitment is to assist in any way I can, including lobbying the current council, the new council, you know, the county executive, you know, whatever it takes. I don't think it'll be a hard case to make. Number one question I receive when I go places, what took you so long? Right? I mean, I'm sure you guys get some of that too. And so I think this is actually something that will be well supported in you know, in many places.
Okay, David.
Can I ask David really quickly? Can I just say one thing really quickly? I agree with the premise of everything you're saying. And I'm not a numbers person. I just want to ask, not knowing what this disparity might be between what we're offering and what you're asking for, because we don't know the unknown. Could it be possible that we price ourselves into a category where we would then be prevented from affording the expanded numbers of people we need? Just throwing that out. I hope that's not the case. But
I think if that were, first of all, if that were the case, that would mean that we would be drastically underpaying our people as opposed to somewhat underpaying our people, which I think we would be worried about. But let me say that if that's the case, let's have a special meeting. We can decide, you know, if we proceed. And in the meantime, we can see if there'll be support for additional resources for this. But, you know, like I said, I think there's if that is the case, I think we have some pretty large problems if we are underpaying by that much.
I don't think we're paying under bear. I believe we are not, we maybe on the top among others, but.
No, I'm hearing that the motion is, I didn't hear that. I don't know if I heard the exact phrasing, but to direct the staff to determine what the maximum stipend is that other counties are paying and make sure that we match it.
Yes.
And if there are any problems, then we'll come back to the board and let you know.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business before?
We have to vote.
Well, Alan seconded it. You all need to vote on it.
Oh, sorry, I mean, we forgot. Okay, those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, then Allison will inform us what's going on.
Thank you very much.
Any more new business before I go? I forget. No more new business, old business. Old business. Boris, you don't have any old business to tell us? Okay.
What the agenda says early canvassing discussion, was that about the hearing, or is that about something else, or the implementation of the hearing? But the agenda says that there's an item under old business relating to that.
Old business?
We
don't
was
know.
a-
Added that, because you asked us to, Kevin, was that, have we already covered that between my report and yours, or is there more?
I don't even
Uh,
have that.
I think the staff's gonna have to go ahead and give an update on, if indeed the court allows early canvassing, where the canvassing, what's being proposed and where it could take place. But I don't know that we have any definitive answers on that. I mean, Boris and I had some conversations about perhaps it would be something that we could start at least doing some of the canvassing in-house at the board, but I don't think that's gonna pan out. And so I think now we're back to looking at different locations.
So we don't have yet a location lined up or a schedule or anything like that as kind of a contingency?
We do not, we have commitments, we have options, but I don't have a firm calendar schedule to give you. I mean, I think Kevin just summed it up, I think there's, personally, I can see, just like we did that one day of the recount in-house here. We've got a boardroom here, we've got different locations that we could do a small volume. Once we get to a size, of a significant volume, then we quickly go off-site. And we're still in discussions with community use of public facilities over securing a school building to use off-site, which is my preference.
Okay, I guess all I would say is that as far as the scheduling goes, you need 4 of us. And the earlier we have at least a proposed schedule, the easier it is for us to try and adapt, because I know all of us have other commitments, et cetera, that might, because you need both a place that, the capacity, and you need the ballots to work on, but you need 4 of us as well.
But David, why don't we do this? Let's see what the judge does on Friday. Obviously, if it's denied, then this is an academic exercise. If not, then a proposed schedule will be provided to the board on Monday.
That's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. David, I had the wrong agenda in front of me, that's why that this item wasn't there. So
Yeah,
no more old business. No, all right, then, thank you. Action item. Any action item, I don't know what that means, but action item. Nothing. Acceptance, approval of the minute. Yes.
Yeah, no, I believe that the board had us add the action items at a time when what we were doing was sort of summing up commitments from staff of things to do. And so I know one is to review the postmarks on the absentee ballots that the Board of Canvassers rejected today, and to apprise the board members of any information we can provide on the number of those that were mailed timely. We just discussed getting the board, if the judge rules to allow an early canvass, that we would turn around a draft of a canvas proposal to the board as soon as Monday. I wasn't taking the notes for this meeting, so I'm not sure what else I promised to do, but if somebody has something front of mind.
Gilberto was going to talk to the graphic artist about some of the possible changes that board members had suggested.
Yes.
Look into what canvases are paid by other jurisdictions.
Well, yes.
Just the notes, yeah.
So there's one other item that we haven't discussed, and maybe we could just briefly discuss it, which is Boris has sent to you the complaint from a voter that claims that his vote by mail ballot was intercepted and returned by someone else, that he voted provisionally, and obviously his vote by mail ballot was returned, so his provisional ballot was not accepted. My suggestion is there's nothing that this board can do. We're not handwriting experts. My suggestion would be that the whole matter be referred to the State Board of Elections and the State Prosecutor's Office, and they can do whatever investigation they feel is appropriate.
Yes.
I
That
think
makes
that
sense.
sounds good. And then can we get feedback from them on what they do, what they?
Yes, and I'll draft a letter to the voter for the president's signature that's what the board has decided they're going to do so that the matter will be looked into.
That sounds great.
Requested.
Thank you.
Can I just mention, I don't need an answer now, but Allison, I sent you an email on Saturday when I got a question from a voter about precinct 1324 and its polling place. And if you can just have either you or Chris or someone respond on that, that would be helpful.
Yes, we'll respond on that, I think. Oh, you've already gotten a response back? Here, I'll have Chris come forward then and speak to the issue.
Good evening. This is Chris Zizit, and I'm the operations manager at the Board of Elections. As Mr. Naaman was mentioning, we had a note from a community member in Silver Spring concerned about one of our precincts and whether that precinct polling place would be available for the November election. I did some research and contacting of the people that had signed the lease originally. And yes, the lease now is void for the November election. And I have been given contact names of the new leaseholder in order to arrange for the election dates of November 7th and November 8th. And I'm confident that we will be able to make this happen. We're moving forward on making those contacts, Mr. Naaman.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Chris. And if you can just let us know when you have an answer so that, we can respond back to the person asking, that'd be great.
You're welcome, and I'll
Yes,
keep you
thank you.
informed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Alison? Any more action, Alison?
That's all that I have.
Okay. Approval of the minute.
Can we do them all as a block?
No,
Kidding.
you have.
Yes.
You do one at a time, right?
We don't need to. Can we just approve all of them as Alan submitted them?
As amended?
As amended, yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
one more point, I didn't realize till later, there are no page numbers on those. So Lisa, whoever does these should add page numbers to all of these minutes. But, yeah, go ahead.
Don't worry about it. Nobody gonna read it anyhow. Okay. go ahead.
I move.
Excuse me, Madam President.
Okay, all right then. Because
Can we just say yes to page numbers?
we're recording, we have all of these things available for people.
We-
All right, then page number.
We can add
Whatever.
page numbers.
Okay. then
Okay, thank you.
let's see, we'll
Thank
put-
you.
Thank you, Alison.
Mhm.
All
I
right.
move we approve as amended the minutes from the 2022 primary canvass, August 12th, 2020, July 19th. August 12th, 2022, July 19th, 2022, July 11th, 2022, and June 27th, 2022, again, as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? No, those in favor? Raise hand. Thank you.
Aye.
So approved. Future meeting is, that you have the list in front of you, the only thing, I don't have to approve that, to say it. Now, you're gonna close the public meeting, go to executive session.
Is there a separate link for that?
So I move we
Yes.
adjourn.
And
So we move we adjourn this meeting.
Public meeting.
Alan, before you say yes, I want to make sure I have instructions because we have two different executive sessions.
Okay, this executive session, we already talked about it, about some.
The
As
one
an
where,
admin-
Members, you just need to stay on and you'll be pulled into another room and.
got it. Okay, so for the first executive session, we just stay right here.
For the
Got it.
The other
phone,
executive session, we go to the place that we're.
Correct.
Okay.
You hang up and
Okay.
you'll-
Okay, thank you very much.
Next Zoom.
The second executive, which came from Kevin's office, so you have to dial in again.
one involves staff, one doesn't. No,
Right,
two
right.
methods.
Okay,
So we'll go.
Thank you. We'll stand by.
Who
Right,
second?
so to reiterate, I move, we adjourn this meeting,
Public meeting.
this public meeting, and board members don't go anywhere.
And then we go
Thank
into
you.
an executive session.
Yes, you go to executive session. Who seconded? Nobody want to
I'll
second?
second. I'll second.
Thank
And,
you, Elise.
and for Jerry, I'm staying in the breakout with the board members for the first session, correct? Is that,
Correct.
Gone, our
Yeah.
public meeting is
no,
gone.
but,
Or you can stay
but-
here.
Let
Yeah.
me.
okay.
Let me check the
Who is
plumbing
member
out.
of Adjourning the meeting. Alan is gone. All right then, Alan.
I'm gonna check the plumbing out.
Okay then. We are closing the public meeting. Stay there, do whatever you want to do for a second. So we're going to start the executive meeting. You don't have to dial anything, just sit there or walk around, right? Okay, all right.
I'm not going anywhere.
No. And here is one more, they have to. Just leave that in.
Well, Jerry will pull us over
But it's
to
a-
different room.
Huh?
They can stay there, but Jerry's gonna pull us to a different room.
But they cannot hear.
They can.
I don't know.
Huh?
So just board members stay, right?
I think Jerry's got to move us into breakouts.
I know, but I'm in Board of Elections, so.
And this one is this one that ends around 7?
It's probably, oh,
You two, one.
Oh, that's funny.